Ready in Chattanooga.
Okay.
Alan's ready.
Good morning, fellow commission members, staff members, attorneys, and guests. The date is Friday, September the 16th at approximately 9:30 a.m. I'm Minnie Ann Lane, your commission chairman. I'll now call to order the meeting of the Tennessee Private Investigation and Polygraph Commission. Since we have commission members attending by telephone conference, it will be necessary to have a roll call after each vote. I'd like to request the Executive Director, Cody Vest, call the roll and verify a quorum, please.
Thank you. David Brown,
Here.
Larry Flair,
Here.
David Horton,
Here.
Rick Jones, Minnie Lane,
Here.
Jerry Richards,
Here.
Dr. Rich,
Here.
Alan Russo.
Here.
All right, let the record show that everyone is present except for Rick Jones. And we do have two calling in telephonically. Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you. If each commission member has received and had time to review a copy of the agenda, I'll ask if there's a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Paul Rich in Chattanooga. I move we adopt the agenda.
Okay,
Dr.
motion,
Alan Russo, I second.
motion by Dr. Rich, second by
Alan Russo.
Commissioner Russo.
Yes.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Alan
Opposed?
Russo, aye.
Motion carried. Do we need a roll call on that?
Gonna do a roll call again. David Brown,
Aye.
Larry Flair,
Aye.
David Horton,
Aye.
Minnie Lane,
Aye.
Jerry Richards,
Aye.
Dr. Rich,
Aye.
Alan Russo.
Aye.
The ayes have it, Madam Chair.
Thank you. If each of the commission members has reviewed the minutes of the July 22nd, 2016 commission meeting, then I'll ask if there's a motion to approve these minutes as they're presented.
I'll make that motion, Madam Chairman. Larry
Motion by
Flair.
Commissioner Flair,
David Horton seconds.
motion by David Horton. Commissioner Horton. Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Gonna do the roll call, Madam Chair.
Opposed? Now we'll have a roll call.
David Brown,
Aye.
Larry Flair,
Aye.
David Horton,
Aye.
Minnie Lane,
Aye.
Jerry Richards,
Aye.
Dr. Rich,
Aye.
Alan Russo.
Aye.
Okay. Looks like next on the agenda, we have the legal report under Exhibit A. I'll respectfully request that our Assistant General Counsel, Ashley Thomas, handle the legal report along with, I think we've got, is that the only exhibit we've got? I believe it is.
For legal, yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'll just start at number 1, being case number 2016-030-731. This complaint opened alleging multiple violations by respondent, including unlicensed activity. The complaint alleges that respondent entered into an agreement for investigative services in Texas. Complainant alleges that the agreement listed a Tennessee company, which is explained to be a sister company. Complainant's allegations named various violations purported to have occurred during the Texas investigation. Complainant alleges that respondent operated in the state of Tennessee without proper licensure. Additionally, complainant states that respondent did not obtain a branch office despite having a Tennessee address and advertised its company in a name other than the company's true name. Respondent denies any unlicensed activity or violation of the Tennessee law. Respondent states that it is a properly licensed private investigations company, and the agreement provided to the Texas client on Tennessee letterhead was the result of clerical error. Respondent states that no work was performed in Tennessee as a result of the agreement being signed. Respondent states that the company has only a mailing address in the state of Tennessee. Investigation shows that respondent hired one private investigator who indicated that she works approximately 20 to 40 hours per week. My recommendation is to issue a letter of warning regarding Tennessee Comprehensive Rules and Regulations 1175-04-.065B.
Is there a motion?
Paul Rich in Chattanooga. I move we accept council's recommendation.
Motion by Commissioner Rich,
Alan Russo, aye.
second by Commissioner Richards.
Russo.
That was Commissioner Russo.
Yes.
Was that for a second?
Yes, second.
Okay, is there any discussion on this? Roll call?
David Brown. Larry Flair.
Aye.
David Horton.
Aye.
Minnie Lane.
Aye.
Jerry Richards.
Aye.
Dr. Rich.
Aye.
Alan Russo.
Aye.
Case number 2 is 2016-040-601. This complaint opened alleging that respondent engaged in unlicensed activity in addition to offered training without proper certification. The complainant alleges that respondent offered various equipment and training classes. The complainant further alleges that respondent employs individuals as private investigators who are not licensed. In response to the complaint, respondent states that it is a properly licensed company with one licensed investigator in Tennessee. Respondent also states that it does not offer certified training, but rather training for potential investigators to determine their skill level and aptitude. Respondent states that the training classes offered are in Alabama with an option for online classes, but the advertisements were available in the Tennessee location. Respondent states that the company websites do not reference services at a particular location. In discussion with the respondent, the company claims to have removed the marketing material from the Tennessee location entirely. Respondent states that the company employs only one investigator in Tennessee. However, there is additional staff for the administrative duties of the company. Finally, respondent is advertised to the public under a name other than that registered with the state of Tennessee. My recommendation is to authorize a formal and send a consent order with a civil penalty in the amount of $500. The civil penalty amount represents $250 for violation of Tennessee Code annotated 6226-226 and $250 for violation of Tennessee Comprehensive Rules and Regulations 1175-04-.06, subpart 5.
Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion that we accept council's recommendation, please. Larry Flair.
Motion by Commissioner Flair. Is there a second?
Paul Rich, second.
Second by Commissioner Brown. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
David Brown.
Aye.
Larry Flair.
Aye.
David Horton.
Aye.
Minnie Lane.
Aye.
Jerry Richards.
Aye.
Dr. Rich.
Aye.
Alan Russo.
Aye.
Ayes have it, Madam Chair.
Okay, case number 3. Sorry about that. Case number 3 is 2016-041-781. This complaint opened alleging that respondent, private investigator, that is a typo. This complaint opened alleging that respondent hired private investigators as employees who were not properly affiliated with the company, in addition to an unlicensed branched office. The complaint included screenshots of the company website and online advertisements listing a Nashville address. Respondent states that the company is properly licensed and has no employees or physical office in Tennessee. Respondent states that the investigative work is completed in the state of Texas, but the company obtained a license in Tennessee in order to bid on contracts primarily being pre-employment background checks. Respondent states that the website in the complaint results from a search engine placement tool in order to have the company website categorized in the search engine. Respondent states that the marketing website populated the address with the Nashville, Tennessee address. As to that address, respondent states and research confirms that the address listed is a post office box. My recommendation is to close as the allegations could not be substantiated.
Is there a motion?
Madam Chairman, I make a motion we accept council's recommendation. Larry Flair.
Commissioner Flair made a motion to accept.
I second it.
Second by Commissioner Richards.
Yeah.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Let's
Aye.
have a roll call.
David Brown.
Aye.
Larry Flair.
Aye.
David Horton.
Aye.
Minnie Lane.
Aye.
Jerry Richards.
Aye.
Dr. Rich.
Aye.
Alan Russo.
Aye.
Ayes have it, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Case number 4, excuse me, is 2016-045-161. This complaint opened alleging that respondent charged and collected fees for services not rendered in violation of Tennessee Code annotated 6226-221. Complainant alleges that she hired respondent to provide surveillance on her apartment. Complainant alleges that respondent placed a camera in her apartment and charged $300. Complainant alleges that respondent provided no instruction for the camera and indicated that she could contact the police to retrieve the footage from the camera. Respondent agrees that he provided video surveillance for a complainant's home, and after installing the camera for $250, respondent indicated to complainant that because she was unable to review the footage, he would provide the service if he received a telephone call from complainant. Respondent states that he explained to complainant that the police department would be contacted if suspicious activity was observed on the camera. Respondent states that complainant did not request him to review any of the camera footage, and the complainant is still in possession of the camera. While there is some dispute about the amount complainant paid for the service, there is no evidence to settle that discrepancy. Respondent did provide a service to the complainant for which he was compensated. The commission should note that the complaint appears to have been drafted by a family member, and it did include comments regarding complainant's mental state, which appears to evidence an erroneous allegation against the respondent. My recommendation is to close.
Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion as well. Larry Flair to accept council's recommendation, please.
Commissioner Flair, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Brown. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call, please.
David Brown,
Aye.
Larry Flair,
Aye.
David Horton,
Aye.
Minnie Lane,
Aye.
Jerry Richards,
Aye.
Dr. Rich,
Aye.
Alan Russo.
Aye.
Ayes have it, Madam Chair.
And finally, case number 5 is 2016-049-511. This complaint opened alleging that respondent failed to submit termination notices for 2 employees within 30 days in violation of Tennessee Code annotated 6226-213-2 and Tennessee Comprehensive Rules and Regulations 1175-01-.06. The Commission Office received 2 termination notices on January 18, 2016, indicating termination dates for 2 private investigators, the dates being June 6, 2014 and August 17, 2015. Respondent states that the failure to submit the termination notices timely was an oversight by the company and will not happen again. Respondent states that upon any future employment changes, respondent will be certain to submit a written notice within 30 days of the change. Finally, respondent also indicated 1 additional termination that was not reported within 30 days. My recommendation is to authorize a formal and send a consent order with the civil penalty in the amount of $150 for violation of Tennessee Code annotated 6226-213-1 and Tennessee Comprehensive Rules and Regulations 1175-01-.06. The civil penalty amount represents $50 for each employee termination notice not submitted timely.
Is there a motion?
I move that we accept council's recommendation.
Motion by Commissioner Brown. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Commissioner Richards. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
A roll call, please.
David Brown,
Aye.
Larry Flair,
Aye.
David Horton,
Aye.
Minnie Lane,
Aye.
Jerry Richards, Dr. Rich,
Aye.
Alan Russo.
Aye.
The ayes have it, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
That concludes the legal report. Thank you.
Do you want to take a few minutes break, or you turn to the meeting of the Tennessee Private Investigation Polygraph Commission? And I believe that we have Paul Hartberger, the Assistant Commissioner of Operations Technology, James and Leiston. Welcome.
Thank you, Commission members. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to talk to you. Cody and I have been talking for the last year. We've had the birth and successful first year of adolescence of the new system called CORE that you've probably heard about. And that system is a foundational system that takes this department and you forward to be able to work with online licensing and to hopefully revolutionize the way that you work with the commission, with the board here, so that you get the most efficient means of work possible. So that when you make a request, that it's taken care of with as few steps as possible, and you get a return document as quickly as possible so that people are in a position to work, or anything, any of those areas are capable. So what I'm here to do today is to show you a little bit of history, hand you a few documents and talk through this, and then at the conclusion of doing that, what I really want to do is engage you today and as you move forward with how do we work together through Cody, how do we work together to utilize this new system, to make enhancements to it, to do what would be necessary to make it work the best that it can work for your commission. And so that's what we're charged with.
We have a court reporter, so does she need to speak?
And you guys, we have 2 people participating by teleconference too. Can you hear?
I can hear you very well. I don't have anything in front of me, so I'll need some pretty fair explanation if the commissioner please. But I hear him real well, but I have nothing in front of me about this.
Alan Russo, I hear.
Well, Cody, before we got up here, you told me I had a big mouth and there'd be no trouble for them to hear me. So they heard fine. So the one item I want to point out to you is when we talk about the world is moving forward. So I want to remind you of some events that did not have to do with you, but it had to do with one of the other board and commission here. That there was people that were doing your nails and they were producing this document with Microsoft Excel. Are you familiar with Microsoft Excel? So some people think it would be really difficult to do a forgery of this, but they literally took Microsoft Excel, and unless you got a magnifying glass out, you could not tell the difference. And so it's to really point out to you the world has changed, that with the age of electronics, what you can do on a home PC with simple tools and a color printer is as good as we can do here with professional tools. And so it's to understand that. And then to point out the certificate that you're used to, you see that it has all those curly fonts, those kind of things, and to point out to you when you go electronic that some of the work that you need to do to be able to have this legible on devices, you change some of those things. Because the first thing I would tell you is, and it's kind of the end goal before we get into this is what we want to be the end goal. It's going to be a little hard for you to see, but our end goal is in a position for you to be able to say that your licensees and that what they're identified by is coming to them on a device like this, because I believe all of you understand that contemporary technology today, you don't even do it with your PC. You do it with your phone. They say that 80% of the work that's done on the internet and 80% of electronic work that's done today has already moved to these phones. And so what we're wanting to do is get you in a position so that you can leverage this in your everyday work. Are there any of you that have used Apple Pay? And so you can take your credit card. I've used it a little bit. Walgreens is one of the few people that accept it. But you walk over to it, you scan your credit card ahead of time, you walk over to the terminal, you hold your telephone above it, and it says ready, and you put your thumbprint on it, and you've just paid. And so that's what we want to get you in the ability, similar, I mean, obviously you're not paying for anything, but we want to get you in a similar mode to using that type of technology. So let me hand out a couple pieces to you and say how, at least at this juncture, how we're trying to work the evolution of this.
Dr. Rich and Alan, we do know that you do not have these documents, and we emailed them to you for your review.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So if you will, compare that certificate that I just handed you. That is a certificate that in the very short run that we're attempting to provide to you. And so it's a move away from those cursive old English style fonts to get things legible. It's a move away from some of the other things that are difficult to read when you frame and when you're, so I mean, this document, as long as it's been around, I believe that all of you know when you're standing more than a couple feet from it, you probably can't read this middle line in here. So we're trying to move you away to something that is a little cleaner. In doing this, the other piece that we're doing is we're setting the tone for something that's the first security feature that's a little electronic. This is called a QR code over in the corner that you've seen. If you have an iPhone, you could actually take your iPhone that you have there today, if you've got or one of the Android phones, and you can scan this code and it will pull up for you immediately the verify.tn.gov. It pulls that up. Today, all it can do is launch that application for you so you can search further. Within a matter of a few weeks, we intend that when you scan it, whoever's on this license, it's going to pull them up and show you right on the screen, this is John Smith, this is their license, this is the effective date, this is the expiration date, and potentially, if you chose to, it could show behind it any complaints that were filed against them that have been resolved and that would be deemed publishable to the public in general. And so those are the kind of things that you'd be in a position to do. So the first step is to try to produce a new document. For the time being, it would probably be produced on this security paper here still, and it would move that direction. So any questions about that is kind of a first step.
Now's the time to ask questions.
I just have Paul Rich in Chattanooga. I don't have a question about that, but I have a general question. I'm sure that the new system called CORE is an acronym for something. What does CORE stand for?
Stands for Comprehensive Online Regulatory and Enforcement.
Gotcha. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Sure. I didn't get a run last night, so I wanted my exercise.
And what we're also, if you look at that, all regulatory board licensures would look like this. Every board that is covered under regulatory boards would have the same certificate like they do now. They will all look the same.
I didn't want you to be able to read the end of the book before we got started. So in very short order, the intent is going to be that when someone is licensed and their license fees are paid and their continuing education and they have all of the proper credentials or they've renewed, that there is going to be the ability that that's going to be sent to you in email. And so then, depending on whether you have a color printer, which almost all people do today, actually, you remember black and white for a long time was the standard because it was cheaper. Today, most everyone has an inkjet printer because that's just what's sold and bought. It's $100. The cartridge just costs more than the printer. We all know that, right? And so then someone sitting at home that does this can then produce one of those two documents. If they happen to have a black and white printer, that's what they remain with, then the copy that you've got there that's done in grayscale would be the copy they produce. Versus if they have a color printer, then they're going to be the other document would be what they would produce. And then again, that QR code in the corner, if anybody has a phone, I'll be glad to show with mine if anybody wants to see. If you scan it, even the one that's on there today will take you straight to verify. With the intent, again, of being that we will set it up so that when you scan it, it'll take you to the person that you're looking at their certificate, take you to electronic information about them.
As we've talked through this, and you need to be thinking about, there might be some, excuse me, Paul, might be some law changes or some rule changes that we will need to speak about at another meeting. For instance, it says that you have to prominently display your place of business, the actual card. It also says that you have to have a photo on your ID card. So we're moving in a different direction and doing those as well. But we'll talk about that in another meeting.
If we have this here and we printed this off and we either put it on our website, could we? To where someone could, or we could mail it to our client and they could scan this?
Absolutely can, yes,
That's
ma'am.
great.
That is exactly what we're working toward, is to give you the ability so that as opposed to a paper document that somebody has to come and see or that you have to scan or treat some other way, that we are positioning you with documents that make it easier for you to do business every single day is what we're hoping to do. And so, again, the paper documents would still probably remain for some period of time that would come to you. And then at some point, once you've got the laws and rules and whatever in place and you've thought through how that process works, then you could move to a methodology where it would be that you would be sending that document electronically to people to verify your license.
Exactly.
And you would have it on your phone or tablet or something similar so that when they walked in, they could also electronically not even see the piece of paper, but scan it off of the screen. Again, the foundation was set with a core system and the capabilities that it gave us to move forward. And so what we want to do is introduce this whole thought process to you in terms of how do you go forward? How do you leverage this technology to take your industry forward with licensing? Very much like your question, to the point. Would I be able to take the license I have and be able to send that to someone as opposed to having to display it? If I want to be able to send it to someone that's many counties away, you've got the document that was sent to you that you may have printed because you chose to, and then you could also forward that on to other people. And so we're trying to engage you to start thinking about what other things maybe would you want to do to optimize the industry interaction with the board and commission here.
Have any questions with our call-in commissioners?
Not in Chattanooga, thank you.
Alan Russo, no.
Any other commission members? I won't leave you out.
I did about it.
Cody, was there anything in particular that you think maybe would be?
I want you to talk about the picture. All our programs require a photo ID. We're one of the few that require the photo ID on your cards. You, as private investigators, usually carry that card in your pocket. You don't have it attached to your shirt or jacket or whatever. And you have your driver's license, and you're going to have this license here. Why is it necessary for you to have a photo ID? Is it more difficult, Paul, to do that in the future, the way we're going?
Yes, it is. It's the issue of trying to merge the photo with this document to get it on a document and try to produce it in a format that somebody would be legible is what you're running into.
So you're saying if they scan this, will it pull up our photo then, and they would know that that's the person they're talking to?
That would be a possibility, yes, ma'am. That would be one possibility, that is, rather than try to print it on something, that you could have it be when they scan it, that would be part of what was the record it would pop up for, yes.
That sounds good to me.
Yes.
It also, right now, your ID card has your physical description on the back. It would be on the front now of the card. I don't see what difference that would make, but you're required to have a physical description, characteristics, or rather. Any questions? Now, I know what you're going to do when Paul leaves. You're going to catch me. But, so you better ask Paul.
Maybe we'll call him back.
Well, that's possible.
We need to find a
Once you
third
have
grader
time
who
to
can
think
figure
about
this
it.
out for us.
I beg your pardon?
We need to find a third grader who can figure this out for us.
But that's why he's here.
What a compliment.
That was yeah, that's a compliment. I'll get you, Cody.
He would.
What about?
So actually a very, very great question about could it do something like that, because honestly, we're not certain, I'm not certain in terms of technology, what ways do you need to interact with the public and how do you need to interact with them? And so how can we meld this technology with the way that you need to interact and satisfy both sets of needs? And that's the way we want to work. So if you could begin that thought process, Cody is very right. Trying to print on this document something that would be equivalent of a photo is going to be almost illegible. When you print on thin stock paper and you print it at the size that we're talking about printing it, you might as well have put Mickey Mouse's picture on there because it's just not going to be legible. And so for that reason is where we get into how do we give you the security or whatever the photo does for you, how do we provide you an alternate means to be able to get to the same end result?
I have one question. Paul Rich in Chattanooga. Will this information be available from the Department of Motor Vehicle Registration that requires you to have a photo ID on your driver's license?
You're going to have to speak up, Dr. Rich. We did not hear all that question.
I apologize. My question was, excuse me. My question was, if a photo ID is necessary, will they be able to pull that from the driver's license division? Which you have to have on your driver's license, would that be accessible, or do you share information across departments?
As it stands right now, we do not share information.
Okay.
That would probably be, it's a little bit higher than me to make that type of decision, but usually when we're talking about another division, it would take probably a law change.
I got
At
you.
least a rule change to, and then we would have to tap into their site to do, in order to do that. So
Right, I
I don't
understand.
know the answer to that question.
Well, I'm just old habits die hard, and the public is accustomed to seeing a photo ID, and I was just asking a question for that reason.
Thank you, Dr. Rich. What, Paul?
Technologically, that information does exist over there. They do store it because you know if you renew your driver's license, they can produce another copy with the prior picture that was taken of you, so you know they're storing it. So they do have it. We would just simply need to work, if that was something that you wanted to look at, we would need to start working with them, with the Department of Safety.
Any other questions? Well, I personally, and I know the commission does as well, I'd like to thank Paul Hartberger and his staff, because there has been a lot of work that has been done to get CORE up and running. I think it's a year old this month.
Hold on September 9th.
Okay. So we're still working, trying to get some things changed, and this is the first step. You're the first body that I had asked Paul to come in and speak to, and I will ask him to come in and speak to our alarm people as well, because I have really been concerned about the photo. If we have to do it the way we're doing it now, it's going to make some different changes. But with our new database and all these cards looking alike, we need to be thinking how we're going to get these changes made. And that's what Paul is here. If you have questions, if you have ideas later, or you can email them to me, we'll talk about it. I'll get with Paul at a later date. The idea about tapping into the driver's license, we can ask them about that. I just don't know what result for that, but I can ask that. And if you do have any questions, especially about people on the telephone now, make sure you think about ways that we can get this changed, and we'll talk about it.
One question, Cody. Paul Rich here.
Uh-huh.
I know you superimpose a photo that we provide, which is actually a passport-size photo, but you do not keep a copy of that there in your files, do you?
Yes, sir, we do. That's why you're required to send in more than one photo.
I got you. Okay.
We do
well,
keep
then
it.
That's one source for that photo if that came down to it. That would be within
right.
the purview of your jurisdiction without involving the Department of Safety. Just a thought.
Yes, sir. See, right now what we have to do, you send in your photo. Yes, you do send in a passport style, but we have to physically cut it out about the size of the seal.
Yeah.
Or the barcode here.
It becomes
code here.
miniature.
And then we have to usually cut it out with a pair of scissors. We have a little machine that we cut it down even smaller.
Yeah.
And then we have to actually tape it we use two-sided tape to tape it to the card, and then we laminate it. It is very, very labor intensive.
Yeah, I got
We would like to get away from that with the technology that we have now.
Makes sense.
I have been in a meeting across departments, and the issue of the driver's license and photo IDs did come up. And at that point, their thought process on it was, although not fully formed, was to look at something along the lines of, if you have an ID card in front of you, to ask that you see their driver's license. That would it be within the law to actually say, can you just show me your driver's license to show me that you are the person that is listed on this certificate? They already have a well-done security document in their wallet probably, and ask to see that's actually much better than anything that we could put together. So you might also consider that.
Yeah, I believe that's what we were talking about. If you had your card that's in your pocket, doesn't have a picture on it, you needed to show it to someone, you just show your driver's license as well.
Makes
for
sense.
identification purposes.
That addresses my question. Thank you, Commissioner, and thank you, Cody.
Welcome.
Great to speak to you today. If you have anything, obviously get it to Cody and we will get together and I'll either get it back to you via email or I'll come and see you again.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you, Paul. We appreciate that. Thank you for your time. Now, that short
Informative.
presentation has taken several years to accomplish. I'm going to go before, of course, the alarm board as well. And as I said, the private Protective Services and our locksmith are commissioner-run programs, so he'll make that decision, or she will. The commissioner will, about making the necessary changes. So everything comes through our office, so we really want everything to be the same. All the commission, the board, and the commissioner-run programs. I'd like to have, if we're going to have a photo ID, I want it on everything. If we're going to take it off, I want to take it off of everything. I want them all to be as uniform as possible that the law permits us to do. But I want to thank Paul Hartberger. I'm on the committee for this one and several others, and he has done a lot of work, a lot of things in the background, and took a long time to get where we're at. We're still trying to learn the system and what it can do for us. We just did find out recently how to go to a document and put our signature on there automatically. It just does it for us. There's several different ways that you can do that instead of us having to print something, the document to look at. Usually it's criminal records, and then I put my signature, okay, the criminal record's okay. I have to give it back to the individual. They have to scan that and upload it into the system. This way, my signature will automatically be put in, so we will be eliminating several steps there. We just found out that system can do that, and we do know from what Paul has told me, there's a lot more that this system can do. We just have to get in there and work with it and play around with it and see what it can do. Oh, and yeah, I guess along with that, our office has gone paperless. We are going to get to the point where you will not have a paper application. So you won't call my office to get one. It's not even going to be on the internet for you to print one. You will have to go online to do the application. You have to go online to do your renewal. Everything is going to be online. It's the direction that we're going into. The last ones was PPS. We just went this week paperless. It has been an ordeal to do that. With the volume of work that we're getting, we produce about 2,000 applications a month, a little bit more than that, and actual licenses get printed because of the way it rolls over. Labor intensive, all programs for the photos. You can see how long it takes to do that. We want to cut the time down, which we have, and we're very proud of that. The length of time that we've been able to cut down how long it takes to get a license from our office. We were dealing with 56 days, something like that, down to 5 days, 8 days, 10 days, something in that particular range. And we're really proud of that. And we hopefully, with the new direction that we're going into, we can almost do it within a 24-hour period if everything is done electronically and I don't have to touch anything.
Great.
Yeah, that's the direction that we're going into.
Well, from personal experience, I know that the contractor's license and the real estate license, they don't have photo IDs.
Oh, they do not, but your law requires it. Every program that we have, except for PPS, requires a photo, but we do put a photo on an armed guard license. We have to talk with law enforcement about removing that. Have a dialogue with them to understand when they now see an armed guard card, it won't have a photo on it. But you're actually the first step in this part, in doing this. You're the first ones we've come to ask to rethink some of the things that we need to do and get your input as a profession and how this would be accepted.
All on the agenda now?
Yes, ma'am.
The next item is administrative matters, and I'll turn these items over to Executive Director Cody Vest. I believe they're Exhibit B through F.
Yes, we can go ahead and go to Exhibit B if you'd like. You have the disciplinary action report for July 2016. You do not have any disciplinary action on there. Beth, you gonna put that up? But you do see other programs have. The Private Protective Services had a few that was on the report for July. Gentlemen, do you have this information in front of you, Alan and Dr. Rich?
Yes. Alan Russo, yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, if you go to August The commission also does not have any for that particular month, but you can see for private protective services, due to arrest, we do have a revocation of a license. And the rest, some of the month before that, in July, you did have some student loan suspensions. Exhibit C is going to be the monthly report. You've already got this in advance, too. I'm going to go over here to the list of commission members. We have David Brown, who expires 9/30 of 16. Larry Flair expires 9/30 of 16. Also David Horton, Minnie Lane, Dr. Rich, and Alan Russo expired in 2014. And I'd like to thank the commission members for serving. You will receive a letter sometime that says thank you for your service. Until you do that, we would like for you to continue to serve in your capacity. So just let all of you kind of look at that. But that's what's in the report. You'll have the July report and you'll have the August report. They're almost identical. There'll be some little bit of changes of how many complaints we had or license that were produced, but I'm basically talking to you about the commission members. Now we're going to go to the budget review. This form will look different to you. It looked very different to me. I did have Bill Holliston come down and talk with me about it, the way they're doing this now. I talked to you about the budget at the last meeting, but I do not have the final closeout for your budget yet. I will get that to you probably by email whenever, and then we can discuss it at the October meeting. You're still in the black. That is good. There is no need to raise fees in this program either. Remember, I've always told you when we started July the 1st, we must start with a zero balance, and then over the year till June, you have to have enough money to operate your program, which you have. So don't be alarmed at what you're seeing right now, because each month is going to fluctuate. The month of July, your revenue was $16,315. There's no cents because we don't deal with cents. State regulatory fee, that is that $5 we pay per license. So your revenue actually for the month of July was $15,765. Now, if you look at the next bracket down, it talks about the PI expenditures and the trend. I've never been able to give you this information before. We always talked about cost backs. That's how you saw it listed, as a cost back. Now they are breaking out the actual cost backs. Edison expenditures are the salaries. Administration cost backs, that is usually the 5th floor, the administration above my office. Legal cost backs, 1,502. Then investigations was 3,158. We had 2 investigations on your legal report. So that's what you were paying for. We don't do field enforcement because you don't have anybody that goes out in the field and give citations. We don't do that in your profession. And customer service is like the front counter here when you go in to pay with your applications or your renewal in person. That's what that is. So that total expenditure was $17,425, which left you with the negative balance of $1,660. But like I said, do not let that alarm you. Next month you may be over continuously. So we're just showing it to you, trying to give you a better idea how your program is running and where the money is actually being applied to. Any questions? All right, we'll just move right along here. Okay, let's go to Exhibit E, if I'm not mistaken. Gentlemen on the telephone, did you have any questions?
I have none in Chattanooga, thank you.
Alan Russo, no question.
All right, we'll go to Exhibit E. You have in front of you a certified trainer application for review. We don't really have very many of these, but this gentleman here has sent the paperwork in, and I believe Beth has passed out to you the law 6226-226 and your rule 1175-3-.01 is the definition, but it's 1175.3-.02 certified trainer application requirements. If you want to take a look at that to match up what he has sent in. Now we'll give you a few minutes to do that.
We've reviewed it.
Madam Chairman, may I ask a question, please?
Yes, Commissioner Flair.
Larry Flair asking, how many of these do we have, Ms. Cody?
This will
We
be the
have two.
second one.
Yes, this is the second.
Third one.
The
Third
third
one.
one.
We have
We
two
have two.
active trainers, licensed certified trainers, Stuart Bain and Robert Duhane.
Thank you.
Not a huge demand for it because you're not required to get training to get a license, so. I did not put this one up on the screen because it has social security numbers and quite a bit of information.
So I'll move. Okay, let's see.
Madam Chairman, I've got one other question, please. Larry Flair. I notice on the college transcript, you would need 4 years of an accredited college or university or 2 years experience for each of those four. Is that correct? It'd be line, on the second page, line under number 3, line number 4, or line number 3. In essence, what I'm asking is to be able, for him to be able to, or she to be able to place their application, they need a college degree and X number of years experience or the equivalent, if I'm reading this correct.
He has a master's degree.
Right.
That 4 years.
Right. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
And, or the person could have X number of years experience for, I think it says 2 years experience for each year that is needed of college. In other words, if you got 20 years of experience in the field, you wouldn't need that college degree.
It reads.
So would you be referencing like a law enforcement officer like yourself, get 20 years experience and you could bypass that then?
Right. And,
Okay.
and I mean, I'm not interested in it myself, but there's some people that I think that may have 20 years experience in law enforcement, be very well qualified to train and or to be a qualified trainer, but they wouldn't have their masters or wouldn't have their bachelors and so on and so on. That was my question. I was trying to interpret the.
Those folks would have real experience and not just book experience.
Pretty much, yes.
See, it has to be 21 4 years degree. Oh, okay, let me see where you see that at, because it says each individual applicant must be 21 years of age, hold a 4-year degree from accredited college or university as acceptable, have at least 3 years of supervisor experience, have a Tennessee private investigator's license, and is personally qualified to conduct. That's when we get the certificates. Hasn't been convicted of a felony or misdemeanor involving moral turpitude, not be suffering from a habitual drunkenness or narcotic addiction, and have a set of classifiable fingerprints on file. That would be the requirement. Where did you see the 2 years?
Well,
It was under assistant trainer.
private investigator certified training application on page 2, if you will, under number 3, then the third, the resume outlining education experience, no. A resume is not considered proof of education.
Excuse me, Commissioner Flair, are you reading the private investigator application?
The trainer app.
The trainer app?
Trainer out.
Okay.
I think it's Rich in Chattanooga. I think that's for assistant trainer.
Yes, that's what that says for assistant, to be an assistant trainer.
Right. Oh, I'm sorry, but the word "or" is what I was getting at. Under it says college transcript. 4 years of degree from an accredited college or university, or documentation of 2 years of experience in a related field, which may be submitted for each single year of college. For the trainer.
Assistant
The
trainer.
assistant trainer, yes, sir.
But the word "or" would not be included in the actual certificate to be certified as a trainer themselves, not an assistant.
It doesn't have or in
Right.
for
See,
a
I was
certified
looking
trainer.
for
It
that.
does not say or.
Okay.
So that leads me to believe they have to have everything that's listed there.
Right.
Yes, sir, you're correct.
Is there a motion?
Alan Russo, I move that we accept the application.
A motion by Commissioner Russo to accept the application.
I'll
Is
second
there a
it.
second? Second by Commissioner Flair. Any discussion? We got ahead on discussion. Is there any more?
I'm sorry.
No further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Would you roll call, please?
David Brown,
Aye.
Larry Flair,
Aye.
David Horton,
Aye.
Minnie Lane,
Aye.
Jerry Richards,
Aye.
Dr. Rich,
Aye.
Alan Russo.
Aye.
Ayes have it, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I believe we're down to the education report on the agenda. I want the record to reflect that the Education Committee met here open to the public at 9 o'clock this morning prior to the commission meeting being called to order. And now I want to respectfully request Administrative Assistant Beth Smith-Bell to please handle these items. I believe they're under Exhibit G. F, okay.
Madam Chair, could I ask for maybe about a 10-minute break?
That'll be fine.
Chattanooga.
Okay. We'll go back on the meeting for the Tennessee Private Investigation Polygraph Commission, back on record. Next on our agenda, we have listed the education report. No, we've done that. No, we haven't. We were going to.
You're ready.
Okay, I'll ask Beth Bell, our administrative assistant, if she'll handle that now.
All right. The first item on the Education Committee report was Marjorie Laster. She attended Louisiana PI training. It was a 5-day course. It was 40 hours. The recommendation this morning was to approve that to meet her 12 hours of continuing education. I have a question for the entire commission. She was given erroneous information by one of our staff members because her first certificate that she got from this Louisiana training said 4.0 hours, but in educational term, that's actually 40 hours. So she was told she had to complete 8 more hours by August the 31st in order to get renewed. She took the extra 8 hours on August the 31st. Is there any way that we could put a caveat in there that we can accept that to meet her next continuing education because of the expense she went to?
I would so recommend Paul Rich in Chattanooga.
It was the day before her license expired. It was actually the day it expired. So we're looking at 1 day early. If she had taken it September the 1st, we would accept it.
Let's ask our legal counsel here about that.
So she took it the day before it expired,
Took it the day it expired.
and you're trying to count it for 2018?
Right.
But she did it on erroneous information.
If the commission's okay with it, I don't see where you'd run afoul of anything in accepting that.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Rich to accept this and carry it forward 2017. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion. Larry Flair.
Second by Commissioner Flair. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We have opposed? We'll have a roll call.
David Brown,
Aye.
Larry Flair,
Aye.
David Horton,
Aye.
Minnie Lane,
Abstain.
Jerry Richards,
Aye.
Dr. Rich,
Aye.
Alan Russo.
Aye.
Ayes have it, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I'm sorry, most of that I just found out about. All right, the next item on the education review, and we will make a motion at the end of the education review for the rest of these. But the recommendation was to approve the 40 hours of PI training for Louisiana to meet her requirements. The next one is a group called Global Options and Solutions of Mr. Raphael DiGiorgio. He submitted an online training course. It's a 6-week course that consists of 6 modules. It's 16 hours of credit called Protective Intelligence and Threat Assessment. The recommendation was to approve that. The next item is Spearhead Global Security, Inc., David Kaiser. These are in-person training courses. He has several. The first one is Basic Surveillance. It's an 8-hour course. Projecting a Positive Image. It's a 5-hour course. Elicitation is a 7-hour course. Debriefing a Witness is an 8-hour course. Critical Thinking is a 6-hour course. And Interviewing Techniques is a 6-hour course. The Education Committee recommendation was to approve those to meet PI continuing ed requirements. We had several courses submitted by Benchmark Leadership Training. These are online training courses. They're valued at 2 hours each. Better Performance through Better Teamwork. Communicate with Impact. Creating a Blueprint for Success. How to be an effective problem solver, how to create consensus, leadership strategies, and techniques for managing personality styles. These are all a 2-hour online course. The recommendation was to approve those. We had a course submitted by Rick Mullinax. It's called Active Shooter Training, Survival and Defensive Tactics. It's a 12-hour course. These are in-person courses taught in North Carolina predominantly. Mr. Mullinax has several other courses already approved by the commission. The next item would be National Resource and Training Services. They presented a list of what they're going to offer for their online courses for 2017. We have background investigations. These are all valued at 1 hour. Computer and internet use, countermeasures 1 and 2, courtroom demeanor and testimony, developing your business, developing and promoting your business, divorce and custody, effective report writing, hate crimes and hate groups, identity theft, locating missing persons, meth knowledge for PIs, observation skills, surveillance techniques, workers' compensation investigations, working in other states, and working with attorneys. These are all 1 hour courses. The recommendation was to approve those again to be offered online for training. And the last item on the list was the Tennessee Association of Investigators. They're offering their 1-day seminar in Memphis on October the 1st. They are on the approved course list, but they submitted it so that the commission could review their speakers, and the recommendation was to accept that. That is all of the report. The recommendation from the committee was to approve all of these, so we would need a motion and a second to approve these.
Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion, Madam Chairman, that we accept the recommendation of the committee on all of the recommendations. Larry Flair.
Flair made a motion. Is there a second?
Second, Commissioner
Second.
Brown.
By Commissioner Brown. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Roll call, please.
David Brown,
Aye.
Larry Flair,
Aye.
David Horton,
Aye.
Minnie Lane,
Aye.
Jerry Richards,
Aye.
Dr. Rich,
Aye.
Alan Russo.
Aye.
Ayes have it, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Next on our agenda, looks like we have unfinished business. Do we have any unfinished business?
I do not have any unfinished
Okay,
business.
thank you. All right, we'll go to new business. Is there any new business?
Oh, ma'am, I do not have any new, wait a minute.
Okay. At this point, did anyone sign
Oh,
up
wait
on the?
just a second, ma'am. I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
Okay.
I would like to ask you to approve the 2017 board meeting, commission meeting dates. Did everybody get their dates?
I gave them to them this morning.
She gave them to you, Beth gave them to you this morning.
They're almost identical to this year. I just moved them up a year.
Is there a motion to approve the 2017 commission meeting dates?
I make that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Richards. Is there a second?
I'll second that, Madam Chairman. Larry Flair.
Motion by Commissioner Flair to second it. Second the motion. Any question about the scheduling? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Roll call, please.
David Brown,
Aye.
Larry Flair,
Aye.
David Horton,
Aye.
Minnie Lane,
Aye.
Jerry Richards,
Aye.
Dr. Rich,
Aye, with a
Alan.
request that Beth send me a copy because I don't have it.
Alan Russo.
Aye.
Alan, did you get a copy?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay. Well, the ayes have it, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay, did anyone sign up for the continuing education participation form?
We had one lady, Ms. Laster, that had a question regarding.
Okay. If you,
It wasn't something we discussed at the meeting?
It was at the meeting.
This meeting?
Yes.
That's fine, that's what,
Okay.
you need to go up to the
okay,
microphone
I'd like to
and
turn this over
introduce
to our
yourself.
Assistant General Counsel to address her question, please.
I just was wanting to mention something, the speaker, that we had, in regards to the photo IDs, and possibly doing away with the photos. I just know for me personally, going out into the fields, I feel like that photo ID provides me with some credibility, especially when I'm speaking to someone who, you know, is difficult and maybe doesn't want to give information or is leery of me. I think just having that photo, you know, on that state-issued ID lends some credibility. And another thing that I was going to suggest with the barcode scanner, I know he had mentioned that was on the postable certificate that has to be posted in your workspace. But I guess I was curious if that was going to be on the personal IDs as well, just in case, you know, we end up getting someone that's like, you know, how do I know this is real? Well, you know, you can flip the ID over and like, here, if you want to scan this with your phone, this will send you to the state website, and it's going to verify that I am who I say I am. So it kind of gives a little bit of extra added credibility to us when we're out in the field trying to talk to people. So that's all I was going to suggest, if that barcode was going to be on there as well.
Thank you for your comment then. Okay,
Yes,
there'll be
I'll
ano-
take, if
Okay,
you don't
go
mind,
ahead.
I'll take that under advisement when I talk to Paul Hartberger again. That is a question, just like your description on the little card, height, weight, eye color, whatever. It's on the back now to where we actually wanted it on the wall certificate down here, because you got so much information on the little card, the little ID card itself. I don't know how much more information we could get on there, so that might be, and they might could put it on the back. I just don't know where it's gonna go up there. But I will talk with Paul Hartberger on that, and I appreciate your input on that. Thank you.
There being no further business, I'll call for a motion for adjournment of the
I'll make that motion.
September 16, 2016 meeting of the Tennessee Private Investigation and Polygraph Commission.
I'll make that motion, Madam Chairman. Larry Flair to adjourn.
Commissioner Flair made the motion. Is there a second?
Yes, ma'am. I second that.
Commissioner Horton, second that. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I guess we need a roll call.
David Brown,
Aye.
Larry Flair,
Aye.
David Horton,
Aye.
Minnie Lane,
Aye.
Jerry Richards,
Aye.
Dr. Rich,
Aye.
Alan Russo.
Aye.
Ayes have it, Madam Chair, we're adjourned.